Hello again, fellow friends, and welcome back to this, another film review, which might be my first one ever, with your boy Harperlarp. So I just got done seeing the film Sonic the Hedgehog. So there's some little thing that I'd never heard of it before. I just figured I'd go see the film just on the off chance that it was good. Of course, that's a lie. You must know by now, if you've seen my other videos, then you know that I did trailer reactions to the trailers for the film, and I was deeply concerned at the original design and very pleased with the redesign they did. And the first couple of minutes of this is going to be spoiler-free. And then the rest of it, I'm going to be talking spoilers. So, first and foremost, best video game movie ever. There, I said it. Mortal Kombat has been dethroned after 25 years of being at the top of that list, for me personally. Mortal Kombat was the greatest video game movie. Now it's Sonic. It's just... It's not amazing, but it's kind of amazing that what they did. It's kind of amazing that they pulled it off. It's kind of amazing that it all works. I don't have a single bad thing to say about that film. There was nothing in it that I didn't like, basically. There was some like emotional moments where they were obviously trying to pull at your heartstrings and get you to feel sorry for certain characters and whatnot. Those didn't land with me. But that's not to say that they're bad. I'm sure they land with a lot of other people. They just didn't get me. I was just like, okay, yeah, okay, cool. But pretty much every second Sonic and or Robotnik was on screen was awesome, which only fuels my original desire when I first saw the original trailer, that I wish it was going to be set in Sonic's world and not in this world. But I'll tell you what, considering it's a Sonic film and it's set in this world, they did pretty damn good. I don't really see how they really could have made it better, given what it was, given that it was set in this world, and he's lumbered with a human for the whole film instead of just being free and super fast. He is free and super fast, but you know what I mean. He spends a lot of the time with the humans, which it wasn't a bad thing. I thought it was going to be. I was like, oh god, lame. But yeah, I saw it and I thought, that's actually not bad. They did quite well. Okay, now that is the end of the spoiler-free section. I'm going to be talking about spoilers from now on. So if you don't want to see spoilers or hear them, if you want to see the film, and you haven't seen it yet, stop watching this video now. Or just mute it and leave it playing in the background. Give me that watch time. Yeah, you can do that. So, the spoilers. So here's the spoilers, okay? You've been warned. I haven't got this planned or anything. I'm just speaking extemporaneously. So, the post-credits scene. I went to see it with Stav, and I was like, they wouldn't dare. I might have mentioned this in my intro, in my trailer reaction videos as well. I was like, they wouldn't dare give us Tails. They wouldn't dare. And if they do, it'll be a post-credit scene, nothing more. And they did. When it cut to, we were just sat there watching the credits. Some of the best credits I've ever seen, by the way, because I was just sat there watching them, not necessarily reading the names and stuff, but all the animations of the credits was all done in the style of the original games, and you were watching Sonic basically go through the scenes of the film as if they were levels. That was a nice touch. There were so many nice touches for that were put in there just for people like me to pick up on them. Like, there was a couple of moments when Robotnik would turn up and he had his own theme. It's been a while since bad guys had their own themes in films, but he had his own theme. It wasn't like majorly pronounced. It was still orchestral and everything, but there was a couple of moments in his theme, both times. Oh, I don't know if it only played 2 times, but I noticed it 2 times. There was a couple of little parts of the music that were reminiscent of like bits of his boss music from the earlier games, and I was like, I like that. Also, like when he was dancing and doing all that filler scene, if there was anything not great about it, this isn't saying anything bad about the film, but a lot of the stuff was already shown in the trailers, and I know that's a common thing, but some trailers can be done right. So a lot of the stuff that happened in the trailers, when it happened on screen, I was just sat there like, okay, yeah, this is that bit, right, seeing it, okay, next. But all the bits they didn't show in the trailers, which I hadn't seen before, they were awesome. Plenty of laugh-out-loud moments. Jim Carrey was the star of the show. Oh my god, he was just he was channeling Ace Ventura when he was playing Robotnik, which is what I hoped he would do. He was Robotnik. No, he was Ace Ventura if he was a bad guy. But yeah, going back to these little nods and noticeableness that were put in for the film was obviously made for 2 audiences, right? It was made for kids because it's a kids film, but it was also made knowing that a lot of people my age who grew up on that stuff want to see it, and they smushed that together, kind of the way Pixar does. Pixar has always got some jokes in there for mum and dad that the kids won't get. There was a lot of that, but instead of like sexual innuendos like it is in Pixar or whatever, it's like old school references. I like the way they did the rings. So, like, he's got the rings and he can throw them, and then they become a warp zone to wherever he wants to go. That's kind of cool. I did think it was a bit weird, when his bag of rings landed on top of that tall building, and then they got there and they were looking up at the tall building, and then Sonic ran in and ran back, and he was like, yeah, there's security up there. I was like, why didn't he run up there? Why didn't he just run up the building and get them? One of the first things you see in the film is is that chase with Robotnik and Sonic in San Francisco. You see a bit of that, and you see him running up a building, and it's like, well, he can run up buildings. It's a thing he can do. Why doesn't he just go and get it? And then realize, because the humans had to be there too. Because the humans had to be there so that they could be put in danger. Because Robotnik posed no threat to Sonic, of course. He just posed a threat to the humans. So I was like, okay, that's an example of when the humans are just slowing him down, holding him back, that sort of thing. But there was very little of that. They do spend a fair amount of the time of the film in a car going to San Francisco, but it didn't feel like, this whole film's a road trip or anything like that. I was a bit concerned there was going to be too much of them in the car, and I was like, but he can run. Why does he need a car? And why is he with a human? And all that stuff. But it all worked out quite well. I do love the way Sonic started calling Robotnik Eggman, because as we all know, in Japan, he used to be called Eggman, and over here, he was called Robotnik, and then in the later games, when they gave Sonic a voice, they started having Sonic call Robotnik Eggman, but he was called Robotnik in the game as well, so it kind of made sense, and it kind of became canonized that Robotnik is his name, and then Eggman is just what the good guys call him, and they got that into the film. So, like, he's got all these drones that are following you around, and they are slightly egg-ish in shape, and then Sonic calls him Eggman. And I was like, he said it. That's pretty cool. And then when he said it later on in the film, it felt more natural. And I was like, yeah, I feel like this was earned. That was good. I loved the bit where Sonic powered up at the end. And for a second, I thought he was going to go supersonic. He kind of did. He went blue supersonic, if that's a thing. I guess it is, because supersonic is just a copy of Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball. And they've got blue hair Dragon Ball Super Saiyan things now, haven't they? Ultra Instinct or whatever they call it. That's something different, you casual. You know what I mean. But I thought that was cool. When Sonic started hitting his ship at the end, I thought, he's going to hit it 8 times, isn't he? Because that's how many hits it takes to break Robotnik's machines. But when he hit Robotnik for a 9th time, I was like, they missed a trick there. But I got over it because then he did like loads of hits and it was a really good special effect. I thought that looked great. Robotnik, I called it though. I said that bit with Robotnik with the crazy mustache and he's in the Mushroom Hill Zone. I said that'll be right at the end of the film, and it is. So that wasn't exactly a surprise. Tails, though, Tails, because it shows that post-credit scene where the camera's panning out, and I'm like, post-credits, and you see some sort of like leaves swirling around, and you're like, I leaned over to Stav, and I went, they wouldn't. Nah, don't worry, they wouldn't. And I thought, it's either going to be Tails or Knuckles. I would have been happy with either, and it was Tails, and I was like, yes, take my money. So then he was like, yes, I found Sonic, and he flew off over to save him or whatever. Yes, sequel's going to be awesome, because now they've done all the world building. They've set up what Sonic is in this universe. He's just from another dimension. This is how it works. We've got the rings. We've set up Robotnik. All of this stuff is set up now. Give me that sequel. Give me that Sonic and Knuckles sequel. I want to see that. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about them completely rewriting his origin, though. I don't know if his origin was ever particularly canonized, but I believe the agreed-upon origin is the one that was in Sonic the comic that I read when I was a kid, where he was like a weird hedgehog creature, but he was brown, like a normal hedgehog, and he had loads of like little quills and stuff. And then he was working with I always forget, it's Ivo Robotnik and it's Ovi Kinterbor. He was working with Ovi Kinterbor, and then the details are a bit sketchy, so something went wrong with this machine. It blew up. Sonic became super fast, because I think the machine was trying to test how fast Sonic could run or something like that. Something happened, the machine blew up, scientific experiment gone wrong, every Marvel supervillain origin story ever. And Sonic goes, hey, I'm blue now, and Robotnik's like, hey, I'm an evil bad guy now. And there you go, that's all you need. There wasn't any of that, but it was pretty good. Jim Carrey was just so awesome in that film. Like, there was a couple of moments where I thought, that's not really that funny. Like, when he's dancing, he goes, I like the way you make them, with regards to the mockers and stuff. But there was a lot of stuff in there that was funny, just because he was just channeling Jim Carrey most of the time. It was brilliant. And they're really playing up the fact that Dr. Robotnik is, like, the smartest guy in the world. And he's so cocksure of himself. I don't recall him being that insanely cocky in the games, but, they got to take some liberties. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's good. I like it. Best video game movie ever. I don't know what I would rate it at 10. I suppose I should give it something. I'll give it 7 out of 10. 7 gold rings out of 10. Because it's great. Like, it's not amazing. I'm not going to rush home and watch it immediately. But yeah, if you like Sonic the Hedgehog, watch it. It's that simple. It's great. There's loads of little nods, and I'm trying to think of more of the little touches they threw in there, as little sort of things like, hey, we know the source material, we know, because it doesn't feel like it was just made by it doesn't feel like a studio went, we've got this property, get some people that know how to make films and nothing else, and make them do that, which is basically how the Mario Brothers film happened. No, this seems like people involved actually played the games and loved them and actually give a shit about Sonic. So they changed some things. Yeah, like his origin. His origin was okay, I guess. You know, I'm wondering how much of that origin was already set in stone, because I find it a little too coincidental that when they pushed the film back, like 3 months or whatever it was, to get some more, well, to redesign Sonic and change all the special effects. I'm wondering if they then put in this new ending, because it's a sweet baby Sonic, and it's like, comes hot off the heels of Sweet Baby Yode. And we all know Sweet Baby Yode was a hot meme, so I'm wondering if they're trying to cash in on that. I don't know. But he was a little baby, and he was blue, and it's like, he wasn't blue though, was he? He was brown, and then it was a science experiment, just like every Marvel film ever. So, like, there was one point right at the beginning where he was like, I was born with this power, and I sat there and I went, no, you weren't. You just weren't. But for the sake of this story, yes, he was. But like I said, that's just a minor thing. I was over that like 10 minutes in. Not that I even dwelled on it for more than 10 minutes, but you know what I'm saying. It's a different origin, whatever. It's something new. I can live with it. And yeah, we got to see Tails at the end. That was so good. We saw Tails. And Sonic was awesome in it. He wasn't like... There was a couple of moments when I thought, maybe it's getting a little bit annoying. But that was only really at the bar scene. I thought, he's getting a bit much, isn't he? He's getting a bit much. And then when that bar fight broke out, I was like, oh, here we go. How many bar fights have we seen in films? This is such old hat, man. I can't believe they're retreading this. But then it went all X-Men on us. First Class or whatever it is. That one where that famous scene where Quicksilver's running and it's all slow motion and he's moving everything. Sonic basically did his own version of that. And it was awesome. Sonic got to be all fast and cool and stuff. And when he got his red shoes, because he doesn't start with his red shoes, right? He's got these torn up tatty shoes. And then, of course, this girl sees these shoes and his socks and they're all fucked up. So she gives him his famous trademark shoes. And I'm like, oh, now he looks complete. I didn't really notice he was, like, I noticed he wasn't wearing the red shoes earlier in the film, obviously. But I didn't think, oh, where's his red shoes? Because I thought he'll get them at some point. And he did, and they were cool. So yeah, I love the chase. All the scenes with Robotnik and Sonic, basically, when they were chasing each other, going around the world, and when Jim Carrey's like, you can't be up there, that's one of the 7 wonders, and then just starts to blow it up, trying to kill Sonic. Oh man, that was good. So yeah, I could waffle on about this for a long time, apparently, so I will leave it there. 2 thumbs up. 7 rings out of 10. Best video game movie ever. Only just a bit better than Mortal Kombat. And yeah, if you like Sonic, go see it. If you don't like Sonic, this probably ain't gonna convince you to start liking him, but an entertaining romp, I found, and I feel that they did the franchise justice, and I hear it's doing very well in terms of box office, so yeah, it's totally going to get a sequel, and I'll totally pay to see that. And on that note, I'm going to say peace. And now I want to play a Sonic game, Grease.